All right, guys, Sherri, are we ready to get started?
We're ready.
Let's get started. Well, a big welcome again to all of you, no matter how you're joining us today, whether it's your first time at one of our EAMI events, or you're just finding us for the first time. We are so happy to welcome you to our virtual artist talk with artist Sherri Liu here. Sherri's truly part of the EAMA family. She has exhibited at our museum before. So if you didn't have a chance to see her show, then you can see it in our archives on our website there. You can see that in the comments section. So look at the comments section there where you can find out more about Sherri here and about the museum itself. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. I would like to introduce artist Sherri Liu. Hi, Sherri.
Hi, Katrina. So my name is Sherri Liu. I am an artist in the Tenderloin in San Francisco. So I'd like to talk. I'd like to start out my artist talk in 3 different parts. I'd like to talk about my background, my Linocut prints, and the exhibit that Katrina was talking about, and the upcoming one, which is called Embers of a Dream. So a big thank you for everyone to be here, and thank you, Katrina, and the International Art Museum of America. So without further ado, I'd like to start my my slideshow, if that's okay. Okay, I will begin. So this is the International Art Museum of America Artist Talk, and my name is Ling Sherri Liu. Ling means treasure in the forest, actually. So about myself, again, my speech will be in 3 parts: about my background, my Linocut prints, which is the first show I had in 2019, and then third, I have my upcoming show, which is contemporary abstract paintings. So my background, I was born in New York in 1985. I'm 35 years old. My background's a little different from your typical artists, I guess. I did not study painting or traditional arts. I studied media. In particular, I studied TV and film productions, post-productions. I graduated from SUNY Geneseo in 2007 with a Bachelor of Arts degree. And then I moved on to editing TV shows for major networks, such as Food Network, CNN, ESPN, TLC, the Learning Channel, Discovery Channel, MTV, etc. I had a lot of fun learning how to put together an episode. And I had a few highlights of my TV post-production career, which includes editing the show for Parts Unknown on CNN, which starred the late Anthony Bourdain. And as a little treat, I would love to show you a travel minute that I cut for the Parts Unknown Detroit episode. I promise this will only take a minute because it really is just a minute long. So let me go to, I'll look for it right here. I hope everyone can see it. So we're gonna start. So this is a travel minute. It's really for in-house, sort of like an introduction of the entire episode. The prerequisites were kind of strict. I was not allowed to use certain footage, and a lot of the nice, juicy stuff I was not necessarily allowed to add in. But this was really fun to put together, and I'd like to show everyone. So here we go.
Stay, see it through no matter what. And I think above all, there's an injured but ferocious pride to anyone who stayed through good and bad times. You should come here, see this. In American cities, this is easily one of the most awesome.
All right. Well, thank you for viewing. Sorry the audio didn't turn out so good, but basically the short end of that story is it was really cool to meet Anthony Bourdain during that time. And my years in New York, I learned different skills for art. And then I moved to San Francisco, which really changed my life. Here are some like little bits of stuff I've worked on. I've worked on Breaking Amish. That was an interesting show too. So yeah, so this moves on to our next part of these of the artist talk. So I moved to San Francisco in 2017, and that's when I began to. I had a change in career. There was a death in the family, and I really changed my entire life completely. And I decided to leave New York and start anew in California. And I really loved it because I immediately jumped into Linocut prints. So Linocut prints. So what this is you take a block of linoleum and carve into it as much as you can and make prints out of it. It's a really old kind of artwork. It's kind of like books were made this way with like really old prints. So I spent a couple years making all sorts of prints and exploring myself and my artistic talents. I started in a various number of shows. I got involved in the Hospitality House Community Arts program, which is a really wonderful program in the Tenderloin district. So anyone is welcome to go in there and make some art. And that's exactly what I did. And throughout these years, I was recognized for my artwork especially in the neighborhood. As we know, the Tenderloin district is kind of rough, and it's kind of nice because there are a lot of artists who live here and make beautiful art. And I was honored to be selected and granted the award called Hidden Gems in 2019. And I was also published in a book, the same print, and it was called Stories of the Tenderloin last year. So that was really fun and exciting. So here is like a little example of what you can do with a block of linoleum. This is one of my first prints. This is called the Ace of Swords. I study tarot. So what you do is you kind of like sketch on the linoleum block, carve into it, print it, and you can make things out of it like a t-shirt. This is a customer, a really happy one and cool. She purchased one of my shirts, I think in 2019 or 18. Yeah, so that's really neat. And this is another print I made. This is called The Wall Has Eyes. So the idea is it's like a lot of eyes, inspired by Japanese prints. Yeah, it was kind of like cathartic at the time when I made this print. I also explored my sexuality, different themes. When I made prints, it was very symbolic. You'll see a lot of moons in various phases because they mean different things. Yeah, it was a really great way to explore myself creatively. And here are several art shows that I had in the Tenderloin. The large one was the Tender Gold exhibit with fellow artist Tanya Herrera. And our art show was called Rebel Girl, and that was in 2019. So you could see all the blocks I had placed right next to a print to kind of show like the process of how it works. This was the award-winning print. So this is quite a large piece. The largest one I carved into. And the idea is like, I transmuted a very painful past, moving from New York to San Francisco. And it's not necessarily like a story of my story, but it's a symbolic one of a tale of two cities almost. This print, the Lady Eckhart and Her Childish Heart, it is inspired by a tarot card, the Fool. See her like dancing on the edge, kind of carefree. There's an element of danger, the lizard in the water, and letters of chance and opportunity. Just a lot of different things in this print, and I thought it was quite nice. I had a little video of the book that I published. I guess I'll share it if it's not too much of a trouble. It's just kind of a simple flip through of the book. You can see this is the stories of the Tenderloin, different artworks, poems, and here it is. And this is the little Hidden Gems award that I was granted in 2019. Yeah, so this is the Linocut portion of the beginning of my art career. And now this leads on to the contemporary art paintings. They're abstract paintings that I've been working on for a year and a half. So my upcoming art show is very different from the printmaking that I've done. The show will have 22 contemporary abstract paintings. And this whole entire series began in a dream, actually. I had a dream in 2020, right before the pandemic began. Here, I wrote a bit when I just had the dream, and I decided to make a note of it. So here it goes. The dream I had experienced was a premonition, an apocalyptic one in nature, and one that felt too difficult to handle. It evoked both fear and wonder. I woke from it feeling haunted, as if I received an omen. Questions emerged from the darkness and began to build on top of one another. What would happen if all of modern day expectations, rituals, and possessions in our material world has disappeared? What would remain? So I woke up from this dream just starting to really think about my life and our lives in general, and what would be really important if everything's gone. So I didn't really have an answer then. I don't think anyone would just immediately have an answer, but that's when I started painting. So I just every day I would paint without really I didn't have a goal in mind. I didn't have like, oh, I'm going to make 22 paintings straight off the bat and have an art show. But when, WHO, they declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic, I felt my resolve cement. So then I began seriously painting, exploring color. So it was a year and a half, like a journey exploring connections of the subconscious mind, emotional realities, and the human condition, experienced at various points in time. Because we all know during this year and a half, a lot of things happen. Global events, personal tragedies, big and small. And I feel like it impacted all of us. So a little bit about each of the paintings in Embers of a Dream. So each painting has a life of its own. And what I mean is, when I started a painting, it didn't necessarily come out the way I had imagined. In fact, I tried not to like force any idea, shape, or design on the painting. It's almost as if it was not necessarily a person, but an organic matter. And I wanted to respect it and paint however it came from. But the only thing that I wanted it to fit into was the uniform dimensions and framework. So all of my paintings have the same frame and materials holding it, and they are all on a Japanese bamboo paper. So I call them paper canvases, but they're not really canvases in the traditional sense. I mean, the art industry is so advanced now. Like AI could begin to categorize and make art even. And I really wanted to break through that. I didn't want to just like purchase a canvas that I didn't stretch by myself. And I really wanted to just not necessarily follow rules or order. I wanted the paintings to just be themselves. So each layer of color on my paintings, they were mixed by hand and used like the various artist tools. I've used wolf's fur brushes. I've used different kinds of brushes. I've used metal to apply. I've used twigs, hair. I think at one point I used a spoon because I felt guilty at that time to throw away a spoon, so I used a plastic spoon that I got. Mixed materials that are in my painting. I've used 24 karat gold and an assortment of materials and minerals. Those who are really big on crystals or stone, I have used amethyst, black tourmaline, tiger's eye, quartz, jaspers, and jadeite. I've used India inks, paints, and pigment stains. And it's a very tedious process. Each layer needs time to dry. You don't want to overwork it. And each abstract piece in Embers of a Dream in this series, it took about a month's worth of time to complete each painting at the minimum. Yeah, so I'd like to show you a little bit. These are actually like close-ups of one painting, various parts of it. This one is called The City of Siddhartha. You could see different metals and different paints, layers, and textures on there. This one actually took a long time because I had sketched on it beforehand, almost like a blueprint of a city or civilization. Then I painted over it and over it and over it. So even though it's on Japanese bamboo paper, you could see how the paper changes and has its own texture. It's almost like skin after a point. And so like some of these paintings, I would take out the paper canvas on a rainy day. Or if like the sun in San Francisco was bright red, that day was really interesting. I take the paper canvas out and just let things dry outside, and that would just capture the essence of the day. So this is like every single day I would work on this in different ways. So I personally don't even know if I can reproduce one. It cannot never be exactly the same. And why did I do this? I really did this because I've been a city dweller for all my life. I lived in New York and I lived in San Francisco. Mainly because I don't know how to drive. So I have to stay in the city for public transportation. But also another one of my biggest inspiration is nature itself. So I really wanted to like capture naturally occurring events in my own way. And this is my form of capturing nature itself. The way rain falls on a rock, or the way tears of sorrow or smiles of joy creates wrinkles on skin. That's exactly what happened to these paper canvases. So my paintings are constantly changing and evolving until they're finished. And you may ask, like, when do you know it's finished? Once I feel like, okay, there's nothing more I should add to this, that's when I know, okay, it's done. So here's a preview of four out of 22 of my paintings. They're all quite large scaled and irregular shaped. They're kind of like a scroll. So from left to right, the left one is red, and you could see like there's just a lot of stuff going on, that you have all this texture. It's not flat. None of my paintings are just flat. So that one I definitely use Jasper on for sure. The second one is called Fortress. That one has a lot of amethyst on it, and you can't really see the photos. I'm sorry about my the quality of my photos. I don't have a professional camera or space, but I will be definitely taking a lot of photos of my paintings during the show. But this second painting is called Fortress, and there are metallics on it, and they're cool. Sort of like silver, but you know, I never just leave it at silver. I got to mix a different hue into it. But yeah, I feel like my paintings really look like a landscape. There's something really unique about them because each of them have their own story and their own personality. So the third one is called Green Gold. Oh, sorry, green number 79. And I've used jade, aquamarine on it, serpentine. It's this one was to commemorate my cousin passing away. He was only 40 something, and he was an amazing person. He was an actor, and he was so young. He leaves behind a wife. They've only been together for 3 years, and he just passed away during a performance. So it really really shook me up. So I just did what I could. Yeah, so I painted this one in his honor. And the last one is called Ultraviolet because it's very purple, not necessarily violet, but I just really enjoyed the color scheme of it. For those who know me and for those who don't know me, well, as you can see, the previous art show at Tender Gold, all my artwork was black and white. So I dress mostly in black also too. So this was a very new thing to explore different colors. But I felt it was really important, and it was stemming from my subconscious mind and from my dreams. So who am I to be like, oh, I can't do colors. I had really forced myself out of my comfort zone of just black and white print to explore color and different emotions that come from it. Okay, so here's another slide. This is the last painting of my series. I don't know if I should even be showing this, but it's really special because this one is going to be a triptych and is currently being framed. And yes, it is black and white. And yes, this one is my favorite. This one looks like, to me, a chrysanthemum stone. If you've ever seen it, it's a black stone with like a white marbling print on it that makes it look like flowers. And yeah, I mixed different shades of white, different shades of black. I've used black tourmaline for sure. And I even put in the new black color. It's not exactly Vanta black. It's because Vanta black is forbidden for us artists or anyone to use because it got copyrighted. So I purchased a as close as possible to Vanta black. It's I think it was created by an artist named Rod Stewart, was it? Stewart something. Sorry, Stewart something. But they created a black pigment that was the most black. So that is also in this painting to give it some depth. I'd like to share a couple videos of this painting in particular. I've got 3. They're all very small. I try to keep things concise and not too long-winded. So I hope you'll bear with me. The videos I would really like to share with you. So here goes. This is the first one. Oh, sorry. View full screen. And then I will mute just in case. Okay. So here it is. It's a sort of in progress at this stage. And you could see the close-up, the different textures I have, different materials that are currently drying. Yeah, it really was that short, wasn't it? 14 seconds. Sorry, I made a really big deal out of that, but it was just a tiny little preview, I guess. So yeah, that was when it was first drying. I had already laid most of my colors, and maybe that was like 2 weeks into this painting. Yeah, and then I'll show you the next clip. So this one is a really, this was a dicey moment of this painting. So what happened was I had put all pieces of this paper together. So when I painted it, it was like one. The painting and all the material would just not conglomerate, but just congeal on top of the little edges of each piece. So I decided to use a razor blade and slice through the two connecting parts. I actually had help from my fiance, but this is when I started to do it myself. You can see how nervous I am cutting through this painting, but it had to be done. It had to be done to do a triptych, and I'm just like, oh my god, if this rips, I won't finish that statement. But it'll be like the end of my life, basically. So here's the final video. I'm sorry, this is just tiny little videos, but I hope you're enjoying them. So at this point, we have separated one segment of it, and you could see from the left, we're just like pulling it out. And it's like, whoa. Yeah, that was one of the like quite dicey moments of my career history where I'm just ripping into something that's really precious to me. I hope you had fun watching that. I sure had fun, doing that and talking about it. So you'll see here, I've got it split into 3 pieces for the triptych. And you can see there's so much texture and depth of color. I know it's black and white, but really there's so many layers of white, and different shades of white and different shades of black. Yeah, so I really wanted to share that with you. I'm really excited to hear back from my framer. Her name is Rebecca, and she's the best, and she will be finishing that very soon. So here we are towards the end, and I just wanted to share it to everyone. The Embers of a Dream exhibition. There's going to be 22 paintings, 22 different kinds of paintings on view. And my show will be September 20th through December 13th in the Tenderloin at the International Art Museum of America. The address is here at 1023 Market Street, and opening reception is on Friday, September 24th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I hope everyone will come check it out, because this was a big body of work that spent a year and a half painting each and every one. You see this preview of the yellow one over here. It's called Yellow Number 33. There is gold in this one, I think. And there's definitely lapis lazuli, different shades of yellow. That was the hardest one, the most difficult painting I've ever made, because I'm using yellow and blue. I don't paint with yellow. It was wild. But I think it turned out quite well. So here we are, and here's my contact information, and Q&A we can open to the Q&A portion of our talk. Any questions, anything you want to ask me, comments. Well, comments, I'd like to share with you one final thing, if that's okay. So I have shared some of my paintings, or allowed some friends and colleagues to see a few of them. And here are a collection of things that people have said about my work. They have said, Sherri, you've got strong textural harmony. Here is impressive texture and depth of color. These are strokes of genius. You're the next Jackson Pollock. I don't know about that, but that's like, wow. And then my personal favorite is, so that's why you haven't been answering your phone. All right. Well, that's it.
Thank you so much, Sherri.
Thank you.
Your journey is truly fascinating to
Thank
me.
you
There's,
so much.
there's diversity, the tough and the good, right? You've had some accomplishments there. I think
Yeah.
that's important to put out, but some, tough things that you've worked through as well. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
We have one question here. So who is your favorite artist and why?
My favorite artist and why? Ooh, can I
If
give
you can
three?
answer that question.
Okay, if it's okay, I actually have 3 favorite artists. My first one is Rene Magritte. I love him because of his artwork and the ideas behind it, and just it's so wonderful. The second one, definitely Jackson Pollock.
Mm.
He's a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. I just feel like we're on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I really respect him. And the third one is definitely Claude Monet, because he's just a classy gentleman.
Yes, I would agree. So the floor is open to those of you on Facebook to drop your comments in the comment box there. In the meantime, I'm curious about a couple things. Sherri, you didn't quite transition, I would say, from New York to SF. How did you get noticed? What would be your advice?
My advice.
You're still up and coming. We're very lucky to foster an artist such as you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so you've displayed. You've had some displays, already. So, yeah, what would be your advice to new artists or those who are finding their craft, or what have you?
I'd say it's scary. It is definitely scary to just go for your dreams without like much of a plan. But if you feel it and you feel passionate about it, and you do it no matter what. If you're just working a job and still pursuing your passion, just do it. That that it's there. You're never going to give it up. Just give it your all. And that's how I did it. Yeah. And I'm a full-time artist now.
Great. It's, there's really the word I would use, and you look at how your work has evolved too.
Yeah.
I would say, it was really, brave of you changing, like that, which is why, gosh, we need to exhibit this, lady, again, because it's come such a long way, your new body of work from when we saw you last time. You mentioned a little bit from where that stemmed from, that evolution into the more abstract color, would you say that was just kind of a mechanism for you to express, or what fully influenced you to try something different, and there's so many different materials that you use, which was I didn't even realize. So
I definitely think it's a combination of things. I had a really good friend named Cameron, who always inspired me and said, "Here, try painting." He bought me paintbrushes and like a whole set, and it's just like threw it at me, like do more, try more. And I was very fortunate to have him in my life. He has passed away. But I would suggest to just try it. And if you feel like nervous about it or you're not good enough, push through, because you're constantly learning. And for me personally, I don't think art is about being a perfectionist.
Right.
It's just not. Anyone who has painted anything or made anything will always be like, I can do better. This here, this there is not good enough. Maybe that's why I'm an abstract artist. It's like, here we go. Here we go.
It kind of leads into another question we have. How did you know you were an artist? Because you were in a different field, right? You started out in a different field. So how did you know you were an artist?
Well, I was always an artist. So, but I studied something because I was like, I can't just be an artist. I need to study something to put my artistic talent to good use and make money to be able to feed myself. Luckily, I did that. And luckily, I was able to. So now I'm able to say, here, I'm a full-time artist. I can do it. Full steam ahead. Yeah.
So how, I think the final question I would have is, how did you come towards, the distinct shape and dimensions of your painting? How did you settle on representing it that way? Or
thanks for asking.
As in a scroll, as you said, I think if I could paraphrase from you.
So I was very fortunate. One of my family friends, Aunt Jenny, gave me a stack of paper, and I think that's where I got my start. To all of the paper is like the same size. So through that and experimentation, I just began to work in a similar shape, and sort of learn how the paper moves after you have certain number of layers on each piece. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. No, thank you. That makes sense. All right.
I think, I had a question. How did I know I was an artist?
Go ahead.
Just, like I knew I had artistic tendencies, and I've taken a couple courses in art, but I think you really know that you are an artist, a fine art artist, when you do it. You just gotta try different mediums, and then you'll see if something really connects. Yeah.
Finding your medium can be tough. It's the art world is, I can say too, really not what it, it's blended, with a lot of, other different things as well. And it's really not what it used to be, it's, and I would say in, in today's age of social media, it's hard to stand out, or it can be, but we are happy to help along with that. So she mentioned her show. If there's any last minute questions there, definitely unmute, drop in there. But you can see, she gave us a preview there. You can see Sherri's beautiful work that's going to be on display in our Light Space Gallery in just about a month. So coming up soon here on opening September 20th. All right. One more question. What is the goal of your artwork? That is a good question.
Oh, thanks, Nate.
The future, where do you see it? Where do you see it going? What's the goal?
My goal is to inspire conversation. I'm kind of a shy person. I don't necessarily like talk about myself very much. And I think that at the end of the day, art is about what you feel and how you interpret it. Some people don't like it. I'm like, okay, thank you for telling me that. My favorite doorman, Jerry, he has seen several of my paintings. He's like, I don't like this. I don't like this. This one's all right. I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm like, but one was okay. So it worked.
Well, there's that varied audience there. You're going to have lots of different people.
Yeah, you can't please everyone, but yeah, if I can inspire a nice time or, you know, conversation through it, then I did my job.
It definitely is, to me, a person, you know, very, you know, I get very kind of introspective, you know, and inspired when I see one of your pieces, you know, and what it means to me personally. I think everyone is gonna, that's gonna be their experience. Yep. Thank you so much. Yep. Couldn't agree more. That inspiration is so important. All right, everyone. Well, again, you can follow Sherri and Iyama through the links there in the comment page, and be sure to come and see her show. It's going to be so great. The reception, really excited about the reception. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. There are no questions. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We will see you at we host this series every month. We highlight a different artist in this I Am Artist virtual series. So we hope to see you next time. Thank you again, Sherri. It was such a pleasure having you. All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you. The International Art Museum of America, located at 1025 Market Street, sits in the heart of downtown San Francisco between 6th and 7th Street. The aim of our nonprofit museum is to display artwork from disparate cultures to promote peace and harmony among peoples. Visitors will enter a serene garden with full rock formations, a tropical landscape, and a waterfall flowing into ponds. Our gallery houses traditional and contemporary ink and wash Chinese paintings, abstract oil paintings, and hyper-realistic ink paintings of animals and figures. Approximately 60% of our collection are paintings and sculptures by the contemporary artist H.H. Dorje, Shang Buddha III. The gallery also houses European and Western oil paintings beginning from the 17th century to present day, including works by French realist Rosa Bonheur, the Norwegian impressionist Frits Kahlo, and the French Fauvist Maurice Flaminique. Iyama offers a beautiful environment as well as 2 rotating exhibition spaces. Admission is now free. Here in our gift shop, we have something for everyone, whether you are local, just visiting, or shopping for yourself. We have many products based on Iyama's artwork, as well as international and Bay Area themed items. We do our best to have a consistent flow of new and exciting products so that you can always find something special to take home from your visit to Iyama.